Hey everybody, so we received our Blue Apron meal earlier today. Tonight we're going to make beef medallions and mushroom sauce. Again, I'm not a cook or anything like that. We've been getting Blue Apron for a little bit, so I figured I'd share with you the process. We have a bunch of people emailing in and asking just how we like the Blue Apron meals and such. So we're going to make this today. I've already taken out the ingredients on the front of every Blue Apron recipe card is the ingredients. So we have a bunch of kale, potatoes, mushrooms, 2 cloves of garlic. And like I mentioned, they'll give you a knick-knack bag with every meal that you get. And again, we pay for this from Blue Apron. We're not sponsored or anything like that. So each week, not every week, but the meals we like, we order. I can talk about that later. In this, we have a shallot, Dijon mustard, a little red white wine, and then some butter. And you'll get a knick-knack bag with each meal. So first step-by-step directions on the back. Heat a medium pot of salted water to boiling on high. So, we're going to take our salt, and we're going to get this going. Great thing about Blue Apron is you can pick which meals you want or don't want to get, and then you can skip weeks, which is nice. You always know there's something coming. And we're going to get, it's a little bit too much water because it's really just 3 potatoes. Salt's in there, and we're going to get this boiling. Get it on high on the stove. Everything is ready. Wash and dry the fresh produce. Next step. Again, I'm just going. We're going to take our potatoes and rinse them off. Give them a quick wash and rinse. Again, I'm not a chef, so if I'm doing something wrong, pardon me. Just go with it. We get good meals from Blue Apron, which is why we get it. It's a convenient way to get some meals without having to really think about it. Put these here to dry a little bit. These are wet. We're going to chop everything up per the directions. And we have kale. Big bunch of kale. I'm a giant kale leaf. Wow, that's a lot of kale. Kale's gonna rinse off. Usually you're supposed to technically dry these. I just rinse them and go with it. A little bit of a shake. I'm going to leave these here for the next step while we prepare our ingredients. So let's go first thing. And it's going to tell you step by step. I have my chopping knife, step by step, how to prepare the ingredients, what you're supposed to do. It's a good idea to read the directions fully first. I've kind of done that. And we're going to start now. So wash and dry fresh produce. Large dice the potatoes. We're going to dice the potatoes. Again, if this is the right method to large dice the potatoes, I am not a professional cook, so I just go with it. And I know what we're doing with these. I'm going to leave it like that. And these are going to wind up going in the water. With this recipe, you're going to get a mashed potatoes, which are great. That's pretty good with that. I'm going to leave the potatoes. I actually have these bowls I bought. They're little ingredient bowls. It's a great thing. You can pick them up at Target, anywhere really, Walmart, Target, any other store, Amazon. They're dishwasher safe, and you can put your ingredients. So after you cut something up, you just dump it in. And then when you're cooking, it makes it a little bit easier to just dump it into the pan or pot or wherever you're at in the particular step. Okay, next step. Peel the garlic. So the garlic is pretty much the same. I usually just cut the ends off. These are big pieces of garlic, so I'm just going to peel the garlic first. Get that one done. I don't know if we're going to use all the garlic, but we'll see. Because these are, like I said, these are really big cloves this week. And the way they have it, you do it. You take the garlic, you put it down. Got a little bit off, a little brown spot there. They put the knife down on an angle, and you eventually push down. Smushes it. Do the same thing for the other one. Push it down, you can hear it squash. And what did they say? Roughly chop. So we're going to roughly chop. Cool. Take one of my ingredient bowls. We've quickly chopped the garlic. I'm going to put it right there. My knife. Next step, peel and thinly slice the shallot. I usually just take the ends off. It makes it easier for me to peel. Whoops, took a little bit too much off there. That's okay. And that's a little bit of a green spot. We don't like that, so let's chop that little puppy off. And get rid of the rotten part of the shallot. I'm going to wind up thinly slicing this. I'm just going to take the other end off too. And we'll peel one of these layers back. Because again, I know from experience in these that we're not going to actually... where will we peel and thinly slice? So now I'm just going to get in here and we're going to start to thinly slice these. I do have a mandolin that I could use. Sometimes I'm just lazy and I just slice it with this. The mandolin does get it perfect. But for this recipe and the video, I'm just going to go through the basic with a cutting board and a knife. We have been using Blue Apron for a while now. I'd say about a year. We did try some of the other services, and Blue Apron was the one we actually enjoyed the most. They give you a really good selection of meals, and some stuff is a lot of different things you'll get, and a lot of great options for the meals. That's good with that. That's a lot. And I'm going to take one of our ingredient bowls there, just chop it up a little bit, and put that in there. So that's a big shallot. Cool, just cleaned up. Next we're going to either do the mushrooms, remove kale. So now we're going to remove the stems of the kale. The way I do this with the kale is I basically take this. And there are tips on the other side of the front, and there are, a lot of times they'll give you some tips about how to do stuff, but I just slice down the long spine of the kale, right like this, and go down to the end. Peel that off, and then we're done. Really, you're just going to chop it, roughly chop them, the leaves anyway. Lot of kale, and for the sake of speeding this up, I'm going to cut out some of the kale slicing, because needless to say, I don't know if you all really want to watch me slice kale for the next 5 minutes or so. Here our water is almost boiling. We're going to wind up boiling the potatoes. Get a nice mashed potato with the steak. And the only other thing I did already previously was open the beef medallions. Blue Apron gives you, I gotta say, their steak and beef are great, and the chicken's great. It's tender, it's It's not chewy. It's always good quality, which is nice. Almost done with the kale, people. And our water is about to be boiling. Let's just get the kale done. Start to finally chop this. Wow, that's a lot of kale. Got a big bunch of kale today. And roughly chop it. The way I do this is I kind of just go through the kale like this. And it's a lot of kale. Roughly chopping it. Couple passes. Like I said, we have seems like a tremendous amount of kale this evening. And we're roughly chopping the kale. This is all this we don't need. Clean up my station a little bit. Okay, and the last step, thinly slice the mushrooms. We're going to take the mushrooms and give them a thin slice. Again, these are the other ingredients here. Some of the stuff from the knick-knack bag. And I'm thinly slicing it. I'm going to take one of my little ingredient bowls. And we're going to put them in ingredient bowls. Okay, you don't have to use ingredient bowls. We didn't have them when we started, and we bought them after a few weeks of using Blue Apron. A lot of times with Blue Apron, you'll work with ingredients that you've never seen before. A lot of it's in season and fresh, which is nice, and a lot of it's local sourced, natural, of organic stuff. Again, I'm not a professional chef, so for those of you looking at my knife skills and saying that is not the proper way to cut, this is kind of how I do it. I have no culinary experience aside from watching the cooking shows on TV. Almost done with our mushrooms. I can hear the water boiling, so I know what the next step is going to be. Let me get these sliced. Mushrooms are sliced. Our ingredients are ready to go. Our ingredients here, put everything so everything is visible. Add the diced potatoes and smash garlic to the pot of boiling water and cook 13 to 15 minutes until tender. So we're going to dump our potatoes into the boiling water and our garlic. And I'm going to set a timer for, how long was it? 13 minutes? I'm going to set it for 15. And we're going to let that timer go. And I'm going to take one of my spoons and we're just going to give it a stir and let that do its thing. This over here, excuse me. So we have that in there. When it's done, we're going to drain thoroughly and return it to the pot. We're going to use half the butter. So I usually prep my ingredients when it gives me a mid-step, just so it's ready to go. A lot of this is just timing and figuring out how they do stuff. So we're going to take our knife and I'm going to slice the butter in half. I'm going to use half from this, I figure, and I believe half for the mushroom sauce. So it's just ready to go. Okay. Next step after that, we're going to go cook the kale. So while the potatoes cook in a large pan, we're going to heat some olive oil, 2 tablespoons, or 2 teaspoons of olive oil. on medium high, and then we're going to add the sliced shallot. That was medium high. And I never measure now the olive oil. I kind of just go like this, 1, 2, and I put a little bit extra in, and I just go like this. Just wait till it gets hot. So I'm gonna let this do its thing. That's doing. We got potatoes and garlic doing its thing. And we're gonna add the shallot first. I'm gonna season with some salt and pepper once it's in there. And we're gonna need a 1/4 cup of water. I knew we needed water, so I had my measuring cup out for that. We're gonna need a 1/4 cup. That usually gives the kale a little bit of a steam going. And let's see if our pan's hot yet. Give it another minute so that oil is shimmering and ready to cook to perfection. And just feel the pot. That feels good. So we're going to put our shallots in. We're going to use this one. And whoops. We're not going to eat that shallot because that one fell on the floor. And how long do these shallots take? Stirring occasionally 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to put my vent on. Here's the great thing about these is that you just dump it in and everything starts to cook. Nothing like the smell of shallots in a frying pan. And it says to add a pinch of salt and pepper. I have these automatic ones, like kind of strong on them. We're just going to stir. I don't want them to burn, so I'm actually going to lower the heat a little bit. I know I put them in about a minute ago, so I'm going to let them go for another minute or so. And then we're going to add, wow, it smells delicious. Frequently. Shallots are starting to look nice, starting to turn a nice golden brown. Give it another minute or so. Look nice. The next step, what we're going to do is we're going to add our chopped kale, a quarter cup of water, and we're going to let it need a bowl, season it, and this stuff. We're going to have the mixing bowl ready. We're going to have to cover it with aluminum foil. Like I said, I just like to have things ready for the next step. This is ready. Let some of these go a little too much. That's what happens when you drip. So we're going to put... Wow, there's a lot of kale. Holy moly. I'm going to take some of that kale out. They certainly gave us a ton of kale this week. I'm going to do that 1/4 cup of water. A little bit of salt and pepper more just for seasoning and flavor. Let me get in here. We're going to start stirring this. We'll do this for 3 to 4 minutes. I'm going to set my second timer for 4 minutes. Let that go. Just want to get some of those shallots in there so the flavors start to distribute. You can see how the kale's starting to wilt. Looks good. amazing how much the kale wilts down once you do it. That was a lot of kale. And we got 3 minutes or so there. We're just going to look ahead to the next step. Season with salt and pepper, and our next step is going to be the beef. I already had the beef out, and I already patted it dry. But what they want you to do is take paper towels, you pat it dry. So when you put it into your frying pan, there's no water, and it's just going to steam up nice. And you just get this. I think usually we put a little salt and pepper, so I'm just going to put these here. This out of the way. Wash my hands quick. And the beef gets seasoned with salt and pepper on both sides. Flip them over. Salt, seasoning the beef with some pepper. Perfect. I'm going to actually put a little bit more salt on this. Cool. My kale a start. Oh, that looks nice. Kale's getting nice. Looks well good. I'm going to let this go for another minute or so. Most of the water has evaporated. Looks good though. Just stir this. Potatoes are boiling with the garlic. I'm just going to make a nice mashed potato with that. Usually now I'll grab 2 plates and just have 2 plates ready for when I plate at the end. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You can just slop it on a plate however you want to enjoy the food. And I'm going to just taste a little bit of this. Maybe another minute or so. We have about 50 seconds on this. We got 6 minutes on the potatoes. Usually the timing Blue Apron gives you is spot on. So the meal's going to come together with pretty good timing. If you're ready to enjoy the meat. It's going good. We got 30 seconds on this. It's amazing how much the kale wilts up. We'll see when we actually get to the mushrooms at the end. The mushrooms shrink up as well. That's done with the timer. I'm going to stop that timer. The next step with this was to transfer to a bowl. We're going to season with salt and pepper to taste. We're going to cover with foil and keep it warm. Take our bowl. Put it in the bowl. I'm going to rinse this in a second. And just a little bit of salt and pepper. Normally you taste along the way. I've been doing the Blue Apron Meals for a while, so I actually kind of know how I like it to taste and how much salt and pepper is actually needed. And we're going to take our aluminum foil to keep this warm, and I'm just going to cover it and put it right here. And that's done. We're rinsing out our pan for the directions. I'm going to dry it off. I believe we're going to start the beef. Back here, back on the stove, and I'm going to heat some olive oil again. We'll let that get nice and hot. A nice sear on our steaks. Get our steaks ready, the beef is ready. We're going to cook about 2 to 3 minutes per side per the directions until it's browned and cooked to the degree of doneness. I have a meat thermometer on these. They're thin. It's going to be pretty easy to tell because these are medallions. So it's just, this all looks like it's glistening. Nice heat. Give it a minute. Got 3 minutes on the clock. So I'm going to put this in. So I didn't get a sear. much as I want. So I'm going to turn the heat up. There it is. Second. It's ready to roll. We're going to let that cook for 3 to 4 minutes. There you go. There's that sizzle. Put it in a little bit too early that time. Like I said, I'm not a professional cook. I'm just going to make sure it's not burning underneath, and we're going to get a nice sear. I'm going to let those cook. And let's see where we're at. We're good. Good, leaving brown. We're going to let them rest eventually. I have a separate cutting board for meat that I use. Usually in this recipe, they're not going to get sliced. So I'm going to let them rest. You're going to let the meat rest. Essentially, when you take it out, you let it sit. So the juices and everything, it still cooks for a little bit, not on the direct heat. I use this specific cutting board for actually meat. So let's take a look at them. Nice. Good. Those are doing well. Potatoes should almost be softened. Let me grab a fork. And we're going to stab a thicker potato to see if it's soft. It is. The potatoes are actually done. Actually, we'll give it another minute. We're just about done. We're going to let it finish up there. We got our meat cooking. After we do the beef, we're going to then make the mushroom sauce. And we're almost there. Just take a look at my steak. Nice. When you do your sauce, you're going to take the meat out so it looks good. I'm going to shut off the heat on the potatoes because I know the potatoes are ready. It's got a minute left on the timer, but I can tell by piercing them. We're going to drain all the water. Sometimes they have you reserve water that you use in other steps, but here we don't. Drain thoroughly and return to pot. We're going to add and make our mashed potatoes. We're draining this. This top has a strainer built in, which is nice. So you really don't have to take them out. You just go like that. Give it a second or two. I give it a little thing. There's the goodness of our garlic in here. And the potatoes. So you're going to make some delicious, easy mashed potatoes. I'm going to leave this here. I got a little piece of kale in there by mistake. Back to the stovetop. And I'm going to flip our steaks in the meantime. We're going to then make the potatoes. Nice. Scoop them down in. I'm going to set this to 3 minutes per side. So I'm going to do a timer. 1, 2, 3. We're going to let those go. We're going to come back to our potatoes. We're going to add the half of the butter. And then the other half of the butter is going to be half of the butter. Can we add anything else? Drizzle of olive oil. You just get a drizzle of olive oil. It's my son screaming and playing with his brother and sister in the background. Just drizzle of olive oil. Now we're going to take a fork and we're going to make mashed potatoes, which is just crazy. How easy it is to make mashed potatoes. Because literally, we are, mashing potatoes. Put a little salt and pepper in as well. Like I said, I kind of know I've been doing it what we like for taste, but it's really to your for taste. Once you mash the potatoes, you can kind of take a taste and see. Should have used a bigger fork. That's okay. Potatoes are almost mashed. happy with the mashed potatoes there. Taste, make sure. Wow, those potatoes are really good. And I'm going to add a tad more pepper and a little bit more salt. Again, really all for your taste. Leave that, and where did my cover go for that? Here we go. I'm going to cover, and we're going to let it sit. Steaks look just about done. Got a nice sear there. That's nice sear there. I'll overcook my steaks, so again, I'm going to take them, put them on my board to rest. I'm going to leave the steaks here to rest while we make the mushroom sauce. In the same bowl, how we're going to make the mushroom sauce is we're going to add a little bit more, tad more olive oil. Whoops, that's a little bit too much, but that is okay. And we're going to add, give it a second to get hot. We're going to add the mushrooms. We're going to cook without stirring 2 to 3 minutes or until they're brown. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shake so they're even. We'll lower the heat. The heat now is medium high. And we just want to make sure we have more or less an even layer on the mushrooms, which we kind of do. And I'm going to let them bake. Oh, I got to set my timer. 2 to 3 minutes. The mushrooms are cooking. They're almost there. And again, if you didn't want us to stir, I'm just going to take a peek at the mushrooms. Ooh, they're nice golden brown. Look at that. That looks delicious. I'm going to give it another minute on the mushrooms. And then the next step, we're just about at the end of our time, so I'm going to add the chopped garlic. We had smashed and chopped garlic from earlier. And now we're going to give it stir, and we're going to let it cook for another 1 to 2 minutes. Timer. Stir frequently. How beautiful those look. Got our mushroom. This is going to make a nice mushroom sauce, and it smells absolutely delicious. We have our garlic in there, chopped garlic. That's just about ready. 1 to 2 minutes on that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our mustard and we're going to add 2 tablespoons of water. And 2 tablespoons of water, so we're going to add the mustard, Dijon mustard. Again, this was in our knick-knack pack. Professional cook. Oh, that smells delicious. Then we're going to add the Versus Poulet, white wine. That's going to nice simmer. It's going to go for about a minute. It's been in a minute, so we're going to give it about 30 seconds. Look at that beautiful sauce. And then we're going to add the remaining butter. About 30 seconds. There's the remaining butter. Butter, get in there, melt that up. If it seems a little dry, we're going to add just a tad more water. This is per the directions for how much heat you have. I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Turn this off. I'm going to let it sit now. Start to plate our dish, and that's what the sauce looks like. Nice mushroom sauce. Take it off the heat. I'm going to shut our vents off, and now we're going to plate our dish. I usually go by their pictures. So I lay out 2 plates. I'm going to take the mashed extra. Perfect. That's delicious. All right, we're going to take our kale from the step earlier. Kale right next to the mash. I'm just going to make it for the sake of this video like the picture. There's plenty of kale. Looking good, looking good. We'll take our steaks. Plate. Medallions. And we're going to put the sauce this going. Get a smear right across the top like that. Wow, that looks delicious. It smells delicious. A bit more of the gravy part. Give it every last little drop. The mushroom sauce. That is it. Pretty close to the picture. And that's the picture. We're gonna eat it. Looks delicious. I'll give you our feedback after the meal if we like this meal. And I hope you enjoyed watching. So we finished the meal, the beef medallions and mushroom sauce. It was really good. My only, if you're gonna cook this meal, my only suggestion would be to actually cook the meat a tad less. Maybe a minute or so less than I did per side, because it is thin and it has a tendency to possibly overcook. Ours was still delicious, but I would have maybe cooked it a minute less each side. But that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys like these, please be sure to give us a like below, subscribe. There's a lot of other great stuff on the channel. And we'll see you next time.